So here I am at Hyundai. I am here basically because I wanted to talk to a lease return specialist about, all the final procedures and everything for me to prepare my Azera to come back off of its lease. And I just decided I was going to pop in and just take a quick look around and see everything. And basically the guy that I'm waiting for, he's like not here yet. So I'm just gonna chill for a second, take a look at some of the stuff they got. I see these people right here getting themselves a brand new Elantra, and it looks like they're taking delivery on this car right now. So I'm sure they're satisfied that they've got this Elantra. Let me step back. This guy, Hyundai's making some pretty damn good sales, and the funny thing about it is Hyundai is serious competition for right across the block. Right over there you got a Toyota. A little bit further down on the opposite side of the railroad you got a Honda dealership. Hyundai has set themselves up to be some serious competition, and I'm actually happy to see that, because to tell you the God's honest truth, the Japanese Econo boxes bore me. Hyundai at least has the balls to create vehicles that actually work with the American market. They create nice spacious cars that don't cost an arm and a leg. And thus far on my Hyundai lease, the problem is a lot of people understand that, Toyota has gained a reputation for being, highly reliable. Honda has a reputation for being highly reliable. So Hyundai's problem is they have to figure out a way or ways to gain themselves a reputation for high reliability, while simultaneously figuring out ways to suck sales from Honda, Toyota, and the usual suspects. Subaru has their own consumer base. I see they got a Chrysler 300 here. What is this, a 2013 with a V6? Not all-wheel drive. Oh man, this guy didn't take care of his seats. Shame. Oh, this one has heated and cooled cup holders. And it smells like back sweat. The guys who drive these cars, regardless what they are, whether they're taxi drivers, Uber drivers, whatever, or just old people in general, or younger people. See, the younger guys like my age, we're buying SRT products. When you buy SRT, whether it's Chrysler, whether Dodge, it really doesn't matter. It's an SRT product. But anyway, not to get too far off topic. The Hyundai Sonata is actually a really good car, and because it's so spacious now, it's actually a pretty good replacement for the Azera. And I may consider getting a fully loaded Sonata instead of the Azera, because the Azera has basically been discontinued. But these things are, as you've seen, these things are pretty spacious now. So I actually might consider getting a Sonata instead of, because nobody takes a lease back and keeps it by financing it. That whole lease with option to buy, most people, what they do is they just get a brand new car, and we've basically created a disposable car culture. So people on the lower end who need a used car have a massive choice of cars to pick. This is a Veloster. The interior's relatively outdated at this point because Hyundai's changed up their entire design strategy. But the key is, there's so many options. If you're in the used car market, another problem I have to say is, after 3 years, some of these cars, even though they depreciate, some of these cars don't depreciate so much that a used car really has a used car note to it. Most of these used cars have notes as high as the new cars do. So a lot of the banks are quicker to want to finance you for a new car than they are to finance you for a used car, because the depreciation rates may have caused that used car to depreciate past the point that they want to bother writing a loan for it. Yep. So basically the way I'm thinking about it, because this is just like a regular economy car that I'll be leasing, this is a pretty good look for these cars. Look at this. This is black. These are both in black. Because I'd be leasing, the whole thing about it is I could get a Genesis or I could get a Sonata. Don't try to do burnouts with a Sonata. What are you, crazy? This damn service guy's trying to do burnouts with the Sonatas. You're out of your mind. You can't burn out with that car. You got to get you a SRT. So anyway, this is a 2016 Sonata. I think this is one of the loaded versions or close to it. and this is $31,400. So this one has the panoramic sunroof package, xenons, navigation, $3,100, you know. And then you got the Genesis tucked away back here, because the thing about it is the Genesis is actually a relatively expensive car. And I would say this, I would take a Genesis well before I would take a Toyota Avalon or what is that crappy Acura, what is it called, the RLX? I would never buy RLX. I'd take a Hyundai Equus over that piece of shit RLX. Oh, whoa, this looks like the Equus Luxury Edition right here. This shit got curtains in it. Oh, look at this guy. They got it's like, coming here, man, I feel like I'm in Seoul, Korea. This thing got the curtains and everything. Wow. I wonder if that's open. Nope, it's not open. This shit, he got the luxury edition right here. This is the S-Class Hyundai, right? Hyundai S-Class. It's kind of funny. But I have to say, they've come a long way with their vehicles. They've come a very long way with their vehicles. They really, really have. But my only thing is, whatever I get is gonna be, it's gonna make sense because it's just gonna be an economy car. So it's nothing. It's gonna be nothing special. I just want it fully loaded and everything. You know. I might get a Genesis, but who knows? Oh, all these damn things are locked. I think I'll go get into a regular Sonata, but I'll go into the showroom. Yeah. So this is a Sonata Sport PZEV, 25,310. This one doesn't have the panoramic roof option, but this one has a regular power sunroof, hands-free, smart trunk, and etc., etc. So basically, you know, it's your typical econo box. They do what they can with the fit and the finish in order to make their cars look more luxurious than they actually are. But I have to say, they've actually done a pretty good job because their cars just look so much more lively than what you expect to get out of Hyundai or Honda. It's so hard to keep track of these stupid names. But their vehicles are so much more lively than what you get out of Honda and Toyota. So basically, one thing I gotta say is, as tall as I am, my knee doesn't even reach the dashboard when I sit all the way back. And when I put the steering wheel all the way up and interlock it into place, close the door, this is how I sit in a Sonata. And I have plenty of headroom. Look at that, I got the moonroof. This Sonata is really a big car, and I can drive this car comfortably. I will even go so far as to say that the Sonata is more comfortable than the Azera is, and it's partially to me because, first of all, if you could see, I'm pretty tall. I'm damn near 2 meters tall. But anyway, the Sonata is more comfortable for me because the wall doesn't like get near my knees. Like, I'm sitting all the way back, and this wall doesn't get anywhere near my knees. Now, as you can see, there's not a lot of space to sit behind me. But this car is damn spacious. That's probably the reason why everybody's been applauding it. It gets great reviews. You know, granted, it is a 4-cylinder econo, but simply put, it's got a lot of space. I'm way more comfortable than I would be in the last model, the entry Sonata 2011. But this damn car is huge. This car is much, much bigger than the Azera. And fully loaded, I'm going to just take a quick look at a fully loaded model, because I already know what the Genesis offers. The Genesis is a really big car, and you know, I feel bad for a lot of people because they don't get a chance to really, you know, experiment and go from car dealership to car dealership and see the entire offerings. And the problem is, if they do go to a car dealership, they're going to get pressured into a sale. They don't really get a chance to test everything out. They should get you know, people really there needs to be a way for people to test every single car that they're interested in a segment, so that this way they can make an informed decision. Because the thing about it is, a lot of people need a spacious car because they got a family. They're trying not to pay too much money. If you walk into a Toyota, you're walking out with a Camry. They're going to sell you a Camry. The dealership, oh yeah, well, if you buy it right now, I can knock $1,000. You know, the problem is nobody really gets a chance to look around and experiment. You know, the car show is a good chance for you to experiment. The problem is the car show, you know, there's so many things that you're looking at once until you may or may not even get a real chance to see good pricing options and everything. But the Sonata is a damn big car. Now, this one only has heated seats. I know heated and cooled seats is an option. But two 12-volt cigarette plugs. And then you got one USB, one auxiliary. So this is pretty much, this thing has a lot of features. And I'm also glad that they have the auxiliary port because I've heard that some companies are getting rid of the auxiliary port. And I think that there always needs to be a way for you to have quick access to the stereo speakers in your car. If whatever car manufacturer hears this, you should not drop your auxiliary ports. Your auxiliary port is something, it's not that expensive to link it in. That is something that should stay standard. In fact, Apple wants to drop the stereo headset jack out of the iPhone. I think that's a stupid move. And this guy, Tim Cook, I can already tell there's something wrong with that dude. But he really shouldn't do that. He should not drop the stereo jack. I understand the whole point of digital audio, but the thing about it is the stereo jack gives you quick, easy plugging access from your iPhone directly to just about any stereo. You know, and then you have a CD player right here. Now, the CD player is something that's relatively obsolete. Everybody is using SD cards, which is something I don't see here. But hey, if you don't have an SD card, you can always load everything to a USB flash drive. A USB flash drive works just as well. But SD card or USB flash drive, either one is fine. But it's also nice to see the fact that they're keeping CD players, you know? That's a good thing, right? If you were to sit behind me while I'm sitting in the... Let's see how much space you would have if you were sitting behind me. If you were sitting behind me, that's how much... Look how much space you would have if you were sitting right behind me. That's a hell of a lot of leg space. That's a hell of a lot of leg space, I have to say. Now, the only downside is the floor is kind of high, but that's a lot of leg space that you'd have. You know? That's a lot of leg space. Yeah, that's a pretty decent good amount of leg space. So this is a pretty big, spacious car. It's only $26,000. So that's around the starting price of a Dodge Charger. Not bad, right? Okay, so this is the inside of South Shore Hyundai. It's a basement dealership. You know, it's not too bad, but the guy I'm waiting for is not back yet, so I gotta go check for him. But, you know, they're pretty cool dealership. They're okay. You know, they're looking for sales. Trying to kidnap sales out of Toyota, though. That's the hard part. So over there you see the Equus. And that's the, they still have, it's amazing, they still have Tiburons here. This is a Tiburon, I believe. I haven't seen one of these in a while. But, you know, there were a couple of people who... Oh, no, this is a Genesis coupe. My bad. I'm supposed to know that. This must have been a first... Yeah, this is a first-generation Genesis coupe. But, see, that just goes to show you just how much their cars have changed while not changing. It's like, this car has the looks of a Tiburon, but... Oh, there's the Azera. It has the looks of a Tiburon, but it's not. And there's the Genesis. And the Genesis has, in my opinion, the Genesis is a really awesome car now. $53,000. You know, decent back seat space. And a nice interior. I mean, rolling around in one of these is kind of like sitting in a BMW, except on the outside it ain't a BMW, you know? But I have to say, and I've already done, you know, videos about the Genesis and the Equus from what I remember. Yeah, they're pretty nice. The only thing about it is Hyundai, they have to keep working on advertising, you know. And I also have to say the K900 Kia was a really awesome car. K900 was actually really, really awesome. It's a shame that Cadillac and Lincoln think that they can get by not offering V8s, and meanwhile they're losing some of their customers over to Mercedes-Benz. And granted, the smaller Mercedes, they can get by with twin-turbo V6s, but, you know, Mercedes BMW is going to kick Cadillac and Lincoln's ass together simply because they're just not giving the consumer what they demand. You can't tell me that EcoBoost sounds better than SRT. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And if you want to keep losing sales to Dodge because they're building cars more spacious with the V8 engine that older people want, then hey, you can keep doing what you're doing, and they'll sell 10 Charges and 20 Challenges to your one Lincoln MKS. Now, this is the Azera. One thing I noticed when I walked over here was the sticker price of a loaded model went up to $40,455 for the 2016 Azera. When I bought this car, when I leased this car, it was 2013, and I leased it fully loaded for $36,000. Now, it has the same equipment, but I'm thinking that some of the optional equipment was made standard, and that is what accounts for the relatively higher price. Oh, you know, it's funny, I reached low, and I forgot about the fact that the Azera was one of the few Hyundais that actually tried to do like Mercedes-Benz did, and it put all its buttons up here. And as you remember, when I did the review about it, I was disappointed that the headrest button right here is not a real button. It doesn't do anything. Meanwhile, this one does have a thigh cushion that folds out, and then these two, 1, 2, 3, these work, but that one's just a fake. And I think if you saw most of my videos, you remember when I talked about that. Other than that, I mean, the interior is actually pretty nice. And you know, the sad thing about it is what people really want is they'd want the same car with rear-wheel drive. If this car had rear-wheel drive, you could add twin turbos to it, and you could add a supercharger or something, and you could make yourself a monster. And that's one of the reasons why the Subaru BRZ and the FRS basically failed to live up to their height. It's because they came with too little power, and you really couldn't do much to them. I mean, you could add one turbo, you could even tear the car apart and add 2 turbos, but the problem is you were spending so much money, it just wasn't worth it. It's like this whole transverse mounted engine, front wheel drive, all-wheel drive nonsense, it's just, you know, it's just not exciting. That's one of the reasons why SRT is kicking ass. SRT is kicking ass. And as you can see, once again, look at that leg space back there. Most of the American cars, they just don't offer the space and the interior cut, fit, and finish that Hyundai's offering, you know. And if you take a look at my video review of the Azera that I'm taking back, I might make one more video review. But this car, a lot of people already know, but these cars, the Sonata and the Azera, have come a long way. And even though they're getting rid of the Azera and the Sonata is pretty much taken over, and the Genesis is the major option if you want all-wheel drive and luxury, I have to say, they've done a damn good job, and I haven't had a single problem with my Azera. So I've got no complaints, and coming from me, somebody who's hypercritical, saying that I have no complaints holds a lot of weight.